What is up, YouTube and all my fish keeping friends? How's it going out there in Fish Tank Land? This is Joseph Harden from JH Aquatics, and today I want to share with you a little bit of my Peruvian fish collecting expedition / adventure that I just gone on over the last week and a half. It was about 10 days altogether. I'm trying to catch up on water changes, and today the water is turned off. The city is doing some maintenance or something. I got to figure that out. I'm not sure exactly, but I have no water. So put a hold on my water changes today. Sunday is my water change day. But it's really good to see all you guys here. Let me look at the chat real quick. Move some things around. I'm so excited. I'm so glad to be back, kind of. I really wanted to stay. I'll be honest. Kind of fell in love with the place. Not kind of. I did fall in love with the place, that's for sure. But it's nice to be home in my own bed, in my own house, and cook some food, some all-American food to make up for all the crazy stuff that I ate. Let me go through here in the chat real quick and check out everybody that showed up in the beginning. We have I Macy, we have Rogers, Idem, Daryl Dimmer, what's up? Good to see you in the chat. Oddball Aquatics, we have Knackered Aquarius, we have D from Down the Wormhole, we have someone awesome from Denmark. Welcome to the chat. It's nice to see people from that side of the world watching my stream. Really do appreciate it. Blake's Tropical Fish Whispers, Heather Nielsen, how are you? Good to see you in the chat. Let's see, what else? Let's see, Valley's Fish, Big Easy, how you doing, man? Missed the streams. Aquatics, welcome to the chat. I was actually in one of your streams for a second while you were asleep. A couple of the guys, I think Jesse was in there and Eric for a second, and I got to chat on the Wi-Fi at the house, at the base camp for a minute there. Honeybee, how are you? But really, it is nice to be back. The live streams, I do miss the live streams. I do miss being in front of my computer, being able to edit some footage and stuff like that. I did not take a laptop with me. Kind of wanted to stay away from all that a little bit so that I could focus on filming and the experience and getting to know some of the awesome people that I got to hang out with there. It was really awesome. Awesome. I keep using the same adjective, but it was incredible. It was a life-changing experience. I will be going back again, that's for sure. Go Wild Peru is an awesome expedition company. They do a lot of really good stuff. They're not just creating expeditions for people, and they do create expeditions that are not just about fish collecting. They do stuff in relation to orchids. They have trips in relation to butterflies as well, and just even fishing trips, going to actually catch fish to eat. They have a few different kinds of expeditions that they like to do, but collecting is the big hot one for them because the founders obviously are fish breeders and fish collectors. Michael Barber and Ian Fuller, as most of you might know from the UK, is a world-renowned breeder of fishes. So it was really awesome to spend time with these guys. Ian Fuller was not there, honestly, but Michael Barber was there for the whole trip. There was also a really nice guy, Felix. We called him King Felix. He was the local guide there on site. And he is co-owner as well of the expedition company, and we just had a lot of good time. We got to know each other, a lot of laughing and joking, that's for sure. There were a lot of pulling each other's chain, that's for sure. Busting each other's, what. It was kind of a, it was all guys, so it was just kind of like a guy trip, and we could all mess with each other a little bit. Definitely had fun with that part. It was, that's for sure. If you guys have any questions for me, I know it's really odd, but like for me, if you don't put a question mark at the end of your question, you don't have to tag me in the question. But if I see a question mark, then I know it's a question, and I will, my eyes will go to that, and I will read it and answer it. That's for sure. I try to read everything in the chat, but I'm definitely not one of those people that just want to sit here and recite the chat for you guys. I just want to talk about my experiences as much as possible in this 1 hour. I'm going to go to about 3:30. I waited a little bit because the Alluring Beta was doing his stream and another gentleman was doing his stream. I had to cut out of there. I got to do my thing. Fish Tropics, Jason, what's up? Good to see you in here. It's nice to see some of you guys keeping up with me while I was in Peru live. It was awesome. HC Aqua, how are you? And where's 54 Punchy? Hello, Miss Punchy. How are you? It's good to see you here. And I'd like to see some more of your artwork. I've been hearing here and there that you are an artist, and I haven't had a chance to actually see your stuff. But I'll catch up with you. And you know, if you can get away with putting a link in one of my videos or something, I'll see that. I'd like to see some of your artwork, that's for sure. Any fish that stood out? Science Gal Aquatics asked me, is there any one fish that stood out? If within the whole trip, in all of the whole group, there was definitely one fish. It was an ancestris. It was a gold ancestris. It's an unnamed, undescribed ancestris. There's probably about 5+ species of fishes that we collected that were unnamed and undescribed. So that was definitely a plus for the experience. You know, we're finding new things. We're actually adding to science, which is a really great thing, and you know, preserving these things as well by bringing some of them back into captivity and to be bred for the hobby and just for science and for nature. Because a lot of these environments are being depleted and being destroyed due to different things such as lumber and illegal gold mining, where they use certain chemicals that are high in mercury that actually poison the water and kill a lot of the fish, pretty much all of the fish in some of these areas, except for the really super hardy ones that are probably still mutant at that point. But it is really, you know, it was really unfortunate. And it is really unfortunate that this stuff is occurring and that we had to see it along the way. So we definitely had to make our way high up in the mountains, away from the low elevations where the mining is happening, just to get away from that. We didn't want to be wading around and walking through water that's laced with mercury, that's for sure. And any fish that we collect from those areas probably wouldn't even make it back to the States alive. Dean, it's good to see you in here. Dean's Fish Room is in the chat. We had a lot of good times together, that's for sure. A lot of good laughs. I tried to put those in the video that I put out today at about 11 o'clock. I posted my first video. You can check that out on my channel. But Dean was cracking the jokes, that's for sure. Didn't realize he was such a funny guy. It was good stuff, that's for sure. So yeah, the gold ancestris was pretty incredible. We also found a green ancestris. There was a couple of different species, a couple of different pistogramma as well. There was plenty of those, and definitely lots of different tetra. I kind of fell in love with the nano blue tetra, the tank right over here on I changed my camera, I flipped it around. I need to flip it back. But this tank right here over my shoulder has been cycled now for about 3 weeks, and I'm just gonna leave it alone until I'll probably do a water change or so on it, a little one. But that's where I'm gonna be putting the nano blue tetra that are coming. We don't get much more than about 1 inch in length, and they have this really nice metallic blue, like a neon blue color when the light reflects off of them from the right angle. They're really awesome, and you know, I can just only imagine them like 50 or 100 of those in a large aquascape tank, just a huge school of them, because they school kind of tight. And it makes for a fun addition to an aquarium or a species tank, that's for sure. There was lots of really nice corridoras. Of course, this is a very specific location for the Weissmannii corridora. So we did get a chunk of those, really nice. The Weissmannii are beautiful, especially the Weissmannii that you can find in the wild in these high elevations. They have a lot more orangish red to them. They're not as washed out as the ones that you're going to find in the trade and in fish stores, you know, raised in captivity. So it's definitely a really great experience to see those. And be honest, for me, it was really awesome is to see these fishes in their natural habitats, to see what they really love. Because you can go along these rivers and you're not going to find certain species in certain areas of the river. You're going to find them in specific areas. You're going to find them only in certain kind of environments. And that says everything. That lets you know exactly that's what they love. That's their area. That's where they want to be in that river. And it was really, really cool to see, especially the Weissmanni. They really do like very shallow water, more of a sandy with nice round rocks, but sandy bed. And they do like a little flow, but you know, it's a little bit more mellow, honestly, the flow. But I think the key elements that I noticed was a little bit more of a fine sandy bottom and pretty shallow, a little bit warmer water than the rest of the rivers. And the water was pretty pristine. We're talking like a TDS of 30 and below, probably more like a TDS of about 15 on average. The pH was hanging out around 7.2, and just pristine water that you probably could drink. I'm sure there's some parasites, but there's not much anything going on in this water. It is really clean. Let's see, who else did I miss in the chat while I'm rambling away about the beauty of Peru? Mad Fish Steve, it's good to see you here. The Fancy Tail Aquatics, deep down the wormhole. I'm glad that you could make it. I know you need to take a little nap. Seems like you had a long night last night. Gerald Dimmer, it's good to see you here. I know I already said that. Miss Punchy as well, you're still up in here. That's awesome. So I do have some pictures I want to show you. I just went through all my SD cards and I picked out my choice pictures pretty fast as well. So I'm sure there was some other ones, and they'll pop up on my Facebook page or my Instagram, or you'll also find them maybe in one of my other live streams or something like that. But definitely keep up on my Instagram. It's JH_aquatics. And then also, you know, keep up on my Facebook page as well, because I will be posting some of these images maybe after they've gone through some filters or something and edited them up a little bit in Lightroom or something like that. Let's see. Any other questions? You know, I don't have much. I don't know. It was beautiful. It was really beautiful. It was breathtaking, especially once you got up into the mountains. It was a lot cooler. The air was so thin, but it was so clean. It was just nice to take nice, slow, deep breaths and inhales and exhales. You definitely had to slow down a little bit and and kind of meditate and just take it all in, literally. Just take in nice, deep breaths, nice, slow exhales, deep exhales as well, and just calm down a little bit. And it was just an incredible, incredible experience. Haha, Dean. You're going to get me in all kinds of trouble. Oh, boy. Yeah, it was definitely fun. And getting to just laugh and joke with the guys and spend some time, you know, learning their techniques and their style of fish keeping and stuff like that. Corey, what's up? The man himself, making it into the chat. Good to see you in here. Yes, this is only half of the tank, so the other half are my kitchen, which is definitely causes a little bit of strife here in the house. But I've pretty much taken over the house with my aquariums, and I'm about to put up another rack like the one I built behind me. That's all custom built. It's 2x4 and whatnot. Anyways, but it was just really good. It was really good to, like I said before, to see these fishes in their natural habitats and just see what they really truly enjoy and prefer. To see these ancestors living in such a high flow, heavy current, you know, pretty much almost rapids, and they just hold on for dear life under these boulders. And it was pretty awesome to learn as well how to collect them properly. You know, really just having to get out there in these rapids, stick your nets out in front of these rocks and lift huge boulders, and so that they would release themselves from the boulders and they, you know, get pushed into the nets by the current and, you know, pull the net up really quick before they swim out of the net. It's definitely hard work. You know, it's not as simple as it might seem, just throwing out some seine nets and pulling it together and seeing what you get. It's definitely a lot of sweaty, hard work. It takes time. And it takes technique. You definitely, you know, you don't just walk out there and start catching fish right away. You definitely have to kind of learn the techniques and watch the masters for a little bit. Michael Barber is really good at it, and it was really nice to learn from Felix, which is a local Peruvian guy who definitely has his heart in it. He definitely has a passion for collecting fish. Even many days when we were done, found what we were going to find, and we were ready to go home. We were ready to find some water or something to eat. Felix would still be out into the jungle, and we'd have to call him back because he'd be taking off to go find some more fish. You know, he couldn't help it at all. Yeah, exactly. The Peruvian cookies. Man, we ate so many little munchies too because there's so many. Definitely a lot of sugar there. The diet is kind of odd. They eat a lot of protein and like double starches. There's definitely a lot of rice, a lot of fried potatoes, papas fritas, and yuca, fried yuca on the plate. So they pretty much live off of like meat and carbs. And you go to the grocery store, like a real supermarket, and that's not where you find the fresh meat and the fresh food. You got to go to the like local little markets, little strips of little vendors to find the real fresh vegetables and stuff. You go to the supermarket, and it's just like all sugary stuff. But honestly, for long road trips, it was really nice to have some fun little treats, lots of little cookies and snacks that were all either locally made by the vendors or just little Hispanic Latin cookies and candies and stuff. We definitely filled up on those. The car was full of wrappers after a while there, but it was definitely very much an awesome experience and a very big learning experience for me. Learning a lot of taxonomy about different species of fishes and like I said, just learning the natural environment of these things and just realizing how clean the water is in the wild. Like really is very, very, very clean, very low TDS. You know, if you really want to create a proper environment for a lot of these species that come from this region, you truly have to have RODI water, at least RO water, because we're talking, like I said, 15 parts per million. And it seems what there is in parts per million is all mineral, because a lot of these spots, especially the spots where we saw the Weissmanni corridora, you see these incredible collections of minerals on the rocks that make the rocks look bronze, like gold and bronze colored, metallic, and it's only on the face of the rocks. From the water, it's pretty incredible. It just looked like a bunch of metal rocks, bunch of bronze rocks in these little creeks, these little side creeks off the rivers, and that just was proof that there's definitely a lot of iron, a lot of other minerals in this. So I definitely think that that's important to make sure to remineralize the water if you're going to try to keep these kind of species, these different ancestors and whatnot. Just really low TDS, and anything you do put in there to increase the TDS should be mineral dosing, and pretty light at that too, just to keep the TDS low. Yeah, we need to go back and do Peruvian pizza. We did not get to have no pizza and no tacos. No tacos for Corey and no pizza for me. That was a kind of a little bit of a bummer. We went to one place that advertised, the pictures looked like straight up Napolitana pizza, just incredible looking pictures of pizza. And they had a homemade oven in the back, wood fire, looked pretty decent, old and a little beat up. But of course they weren't serving pizza. We had, what did we have, egg sandwiches? No, they were chicken sandwiches. They were like chicken salad sandwich kind of thing, I think is what we had there. Yeah, instead of the pizza. We had to look at the pictures on the wall while we ate chicken sandwiches. Let me go ahead and stop rambling a little bit. Oh, I'll keep rambling, but I want to ramble about some pictures. Let me go ahead and jump into this. Let me see if I can do this without wasting too much time. We'll go ahead and do a screen share. And because I'm just doing Google Hangouts because OBS is not working well for me right now with my internet. So everybody should be able to see this. Let me double check. It looks good. Everybody see the see my screen share? Ramble, ramble, ramble. Yep. Okay, that looks good. I'm seeing it. So now I'm making a mess. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and close out the chat so I can talk about this for a minute. This is a really awesome picture. We're at about 1,000. No. Where am I at? We're at about like 900 plus. 9,000 plus feet in altitude. And this was a really, really cool spot. We had to pull over and check it out and get some really beautiful pictures. I saw that Corey had collected some really nice images from this spot. Kind of jealous of what he got to capture with his iPhone. It was really nice, some really nice pictures. But just the light shining down through the clouds, and the clouds just hitting the peaks of these mountaintops. There's lots of terraced farming going on all the way up into these peaks. Like these farmers climb way up into the hills to get to their plots. It is pretty insane what they go through to find, to farm. So this was just a really nice shot. We got Dean, we got Dwayne, Corey, and I came together for a nice little group photo of our little tight group for the expedition. These are not in any specific order, so I'm gonna just change subject matter as I go along. This is just a nice one that I had of Dean. It wasn't the best picture that I have of Dean at all, but it just, to me, Dean, while you're here, you're watching this, just reminded me of like a big kid. You were just so happy the whole time. I think we all acted like big kids. We were all in our element. We were all getting to do what we love, do our passion, and I think we were all really excited. I think we all acted like big kids, but it just reminds me of just like a big kid, happy and having fun, doing what he loves. Let's see, these are two gentlemen here on the left there, and I don't know if this flips around, but you have in the Go Wild Peru t-shirt, you have Felix, and he is the resident guide there for Go Wild Peru. He's super, super passionate, like I said before, about fish keeping. He knows these species. He knows the names of all these fish, all of the Latin names very well, and he knows exactly where to find them. He's got all kinds of good techniques in collecting them. And then on the other side here, we have Washington, which is he's obviously a really good carpenter because we got to see a lot of his carpentry at this property where we stayed for one night, his bed and breakfast. But he also is really educated in the locations where a lot of these species of fishes are from. So he went out with us on this day this picture was taken and helped guide us around along with Felix to help us corridor, more Weissmanite corridor specifically. But he's just really good people, really good-hearted people. I think Peruvian people are some of the nicest people I've ever met. Not very, rude or seemingly racist or anything, just towards like American and Americana. They're definitely just good-hearted people, always willing to help you out, always wanting to feed you and put something in your body there, give you some food. I don't know if I just caused that, but let's see. This is just a nice butterfly here. I believe this is a Gulf fritillary, I believe, but this is a Heliconiae species of butterfly. My favorite family or whatnot of, not family, but a kind of butterfly is the Heliconiae, which have more of a longer wing, so they glide a little bit more. They don't have to flutter don't have to flap their wings so heavily to stay in the air, so they can kind of stop for a minute and just kind of glide, and then they flutter again, and then they glide. I really do love these butterflies, and it was just incredible how many butterflies there were there. I should have pulled up more images of butterflies, but there was hundreds and hundreds of species, and they're all just congregating together in the same areas, collecting water and minerals from the wet soil on the banks. And so this is a picture here of Senor Dean and Felix just going through the fish that we had collected and kind of separating them into different buckets. Some of these fish are a little bit more aggressive than others, and we couldn't really keep all certain keep species all mixed in the same bucket, or they would beat each other up or try to eat each other. So we definitely had to separate them until we got back to the vehicle where we could bag them at the end of each collecting site. So this is just a picture of them diligently collecting fish and separating the fish out. And there's an awesome picture of Corey having fun with the butterflies. I guess this is another example. This is an example of all of the butterflies congregating there along the water. Now they're collecting minerals, and the reason why they're all in the same spot is more than likely that's where a cow has urinated. We've been told that even if we were to urinate in a certain area, do number one in a certain area, within time the butterflies will smell that and they'll come, and because they're trying to get the minerals from it. So more than likely you could see how the soil is all turned up right there. This is an area where there's a cow pasture, so all the cows come down here to drink water from the creek. And so that's more than likely why they're all kind of congregating in that one little area specifically. But there's probably about 10 or 15 different species right there. And what was also really nice about the butterflies, it was cool to see how they kind of, they'll all go to the same spot, but they stay in little groups. They would stay in little groups of their own kind, which was really crazy. This is just a picture of a street. I think this was in Puerto Maldonado. This is some of the hardware stores they had available for different materials, building materials and whatnot. And you can see that, you know, a lot of people had motorcycles, little motor scooters, and then there was also these little trikes, these little, I think they're just called motor cars is what they were called. And they're all like, basically like a retrofitted motorcycle. And I believe it's kind of the same kind of thing in Asia as well, in China. There's a nice picture of Corey, happy as he can be. He's completely in water. He's up to his waist in a river and on the bank. I caught him taking pictures of fish with his phone. He's really lucky to have that waterproof iPhone that came in really handy, whereas I had to continuously watch out for my camera and make sure I didn't drop it in the drink. This was where we parked the car in a really nice spot where we caught a lot of fishes. This is just a little bridge. Now this road is actually probably created for lumber, in the lumber industry. There's a lot of illegal lumber in Peru and then South America, period. But we actually had to pay a tariff. We had to pay a tax just to like the locals that own this piece of land, just to drive through this passage. They had no idea what we were going for, but you know, we're just going for fish. We're not smuggling anything, but I'm sure there's a lot of smuggling that happens on this road, things like of that nature. But I just thought it was a really nice homemade wood bridge and just made for a really nice picture. And that was just looking the other direction up the same road. Just a nice long dirt road in the jungle. Oh, there's another nice picture of Corey. Corey and I just chilling in a creek. This location we found a lot of a mix of fish. There was definitely some tetra, some just like a white tetra. There was also some corridoras, and I did think I found some of the blue nano blue tetra as well. Some whiptail as well in here. What else was in there? There was a couple. I think this is where we found the wood cats, I believe, is where we found those here as well. Some really nice wood cats. Here's just an example of the lumber projects that go on. I don't know what kind of wood this is. There's Michael Barber, the owner of Go Wild Peru, and he's just taking a look at some of this really, really nice lumber, really nice hardwood. And they got some serious chainsaws. It was insane to watch them just melt right through some of this serious hardwood. I mean, I work with hardwood every day, and I can make a drill bit smoke and break in half with some of this wood. It was just incredible to see them milling it with nothing but a chainsaw and a guide, all by hand on the bank of the river. There's another picture of of Dean, happy as a clam there, with the machete on his shoulder. This is us getting ready, packing up a boat to cross a very large river to the other side so that we can hike up in the jungle along a little creek, looking for more corridoras. And specifically, well, there's some corridoras, but we saw a lot more, found a lot more ancestris in this area. This is a picture of a baby howler monkey. There's a nice little hostel next to the property, next to our base camp at Puerto Maldonado. And they have a few baby howler monkeys there on property. And it's really unfortunate. The reason why they have them is a lot of the illegal gold miners in the mountains will hunt the howler monkey for food while they're living up in the jungles and collecting the gold. And so you end up with a bunch of orphan baby howler monkeys. And this one hostel, there's some really nice owners of this hostel, and some people know in the area that they can bring them to the gentleman that owns this hostel. and he'll rear them up and get them to adulthood, and they kind of eventually, as they grow older, they run from the property and they take off into the jungle, where they get collected by the city. As I was told, the city of Puerto Maldonado, it is illegal to keep howler monkeys as pets or to keep them within the city limits. So once they get big enough and they leave the property, they're probably caught, collected by the government, and taken to a reserve or something like that, taken out into the jungle. But this is probably, I don't know, maybe not even maybe a year old howler monkey. But he's just basking in the sun, having a good time. I think I have a few pictures here of him. This is another, I think this is the same howler monkey, just enjoying the sun. This is about 9:30 in the morning. He's just sitting there soaking up the sun. It's another pretty picture. They're really nice. I actually wanted to play with you. I had one kind of chewing on my shoe. Luckily, he was just chewing on my shoe, but it was really nice to hang out with these primates and just see how much they are like humans, you know, just their mannerisms and everything like that. Here's the saddleback. I can't think of what they're, lemur. I think it is a lemur, saddleback lemur. They're just chowing on some bananas. They were very, very skittish. They weren't like the howler monkeys that are a little bit more domesticated. They made a really nice sound. It sounded like little birds chirping at each other. And as soon as you got close to them, they'd take off into the trees and take the banana they were eating with them. So what do I have? I think I'm at the end. Oh, I want to cry. That's about the end of that. But let me see. Let's stop the screen share. All right. Well, let me find the chat as I ramble along here. I'm not going to see what everybody was saying. There's just some really nice pictures, really nice memories. And I have to say, it was nice to get to know everybody, get to know Dean, get to know Corey and Dwayne on a personal level, and just understand who they really are as people. And, you know, it changes the way you see some of these people, that's for sure. But I definitely feel like I've created some friendships and some relationships a little deeper than the good old YouTube platform, that's for sure. Corey. Yeah, Dean ended up with the nickname Mean Dean. What do we call it? Mean Dean, the fish breeding machine, was his full nickname. You can just start a hashtag Mean Dean. Hashtag Mean Dean in the house. Nah, he's a good guy. He was definitely we were definitely pulling each other's chain, but in a good way. It was fun. Like I said, lots of good laughs. Lots of good laughs. Let's see. The dollar, Fancy Tales Aquatics asks, how far does the dollar go there? When we were doing an exchange of money there, I think before I left in the airport, it was 3.38 to 1. So we were rich. But no matter how much any of us made, we were rich compared to the locals, that's for sure. Wasn't a problem. It wasn't a problem at all. I mean, at the same time, things are more in soles, right? So like you might go out and a meal is going to be 28 soles. So when you put that into perspective, you are paying about the same price. It's still kind of cheaper though. I mean, whereas you would go out to eat somewhere in the States, you might pay $15 for a meal. You're probably paying about $7 for a meal in US dollars. But it was definitely good eating. It was definitely a lot of carbs, like I said before, but with all the work that we were doing, you know, fish collecting is definitely a lot of work. And with all that, I definitely had no problem taking in some of those carbs. I have to be honest, I definitely gained some weight. I came back to work. I came back to the islands and went back to work the other day, put on my work pants, and I had to suck it in a little bit. Oh no. So I definitely got to go on a little bit of a diet, work off some of these carbs, all the potatoes that I ate there. Every plate pretty much had fried potatoes or fried yuca on it, which is another starch. It's another like potato like, we eat that here in the Caribbean as well. They didn't like a lot of spicy food either. I mean, you could ask for spicy food because it is a Latin country. There definitely was hot sauces and stuff, but most of their hot sauces were a little bit more anything. We did find a few apistogramma. There was some large cichlids, not super large, but we did see, you know, we caught a few cichlids that were almost about 3 inches. Definitely. The wolffish, we caught a few very large wolffish. That probably, you know, a few of those would be a meal, that's for sure. Big scary teeth, that's for sure. Let's see. Looking for questions in the chat. I'd love to answer your questions. Anything that you guys, any questions you guys have about the experience, about Peru, about the culture, about the fishes that we were collecting. Let me scroll back up and see if I missed any questions. Like I said, you had a. It helps a lot if you put a question mark at the end of a question, because my eye will gravitate to it a lot quicker than a question without a question mark. That's for sure. But if you guys have not checked out the website, check out Go Wild Peru, gowildperu.com. I don't have a link for it in the description, and I unfortunately did not put a link for it, and I will go back and edit that, but I do not, you know, I'm going to go put a link for that in the first video that I made that I posted today. And go check out that their website. Show a lot of images of the collecting of fish, the different species that they like to collect and are available in those areas in that region. And you can check out the different packages that they have available. They do about 3 or 4 trips a year, and it's definitely worth doing. If you have the funds to do it, you can. If you have the means to make it work, I would say jump on one of those expeditions with Michael Barber, and even see if you can get on one of those expeditions with Ian Fuller on board as well. And definitely ask for Felix. Make sure Felix is there, because he should be, and he better be. That guy was awesome, and I definitely learned a lot from him. Let's see. Let me scroll down to the bottom of the chat. Let's see. The worst moment on the trip. Let me say that Corey asked me, what is the worst moment on the trip? The worst moment, honestly, that I had on the trip, everything was awesome. The only thing that because I thought about it many times, honestly, to myself, and the only thing that I had a problem with was, it was like the 2nd or 3rd day where we stayed out late. I think, Corey, you had gone back to the vehicle, and I was out. No, you were there. We were all there. It was me. We were all there. And we pulled out that same net because we were kind of getting greedy, I feel like. And we were out past dark, past the sun going down, kind of over the mountainside, starting to get really dim. And we pulled out the same net, and we were trying to collect the Corey, some more Weissmanni. And we only found 2 more, I think, at that point. But I got chewed up pretty bad by some little, like, it wasn't a sand flea. It was bigger than what people would call a sand flea. It was smaller than a fruit fly, right in the between there in size, because I definitely caught them on me a few times when they were biting me, and I got a glimpse of them. But they tore me up. They tore me up pretty good. You can see some red marks. They're starting to go away. And what I realized since I got home, I had a really hard day of work my first day back. Moved a lot of hot, heavy steel. We had to use big forklifts and stuff, huge tons and tons of steel, like literally tons in weight of steel, and in the hot sun all day long. And I noticed that sweating out through my skin, really sweating a lot all day, is what really finally stopped the itch on these guys. But they would flare up and swell up my hand. I pretty much am going to have scars. You can see little bumps maybe. My lighting is a little bright, a little hot in here. But I got little red marks all over my fingers here. And they only really got me up to here, where you can see the marks there, all the little red marks back there. They only got me up to my elbow because I had, you know, my sleeves rolled up. But they definitely chewed me up a little bit, and it stuck around for like a week after the whole trip. And anytime you touch them, you just kind of get the hives going, like get the histamines rolling, and your skin would all start to itch, and I would just want to chew them up until they almost bled. It was pretty rough. So honestly, that's like the worst thing out of the whole thing, was just staying out too late past dark along the riverbank where these little bugs were biting. To be honest, I have more mosquitoes in my house than we encountered down there in Peru. So mosquitoes weren't a problem for me at all. We did not get to do both. Oh, no, we had ceviche because Michael Barber's birthday was the first day of our trip. The 14th was Michael Barber's birthday. And so I talked about it so much that he decided to make a fresh batch of ceviche at the table. So at the base camp, at the house there, we did have, I had about 4 portions, 3 or 4 big scoops of ceviche onto my plate. And they eat ceviche with roasted sweet potato. It's supposed to be complemented with sweet potato in Peru. That's how they do it. They're served together. So, and actually, it was quite nice to put them both on the fork together and eat them together. And guinea pig, we did not get to do guinea pig. We drove past a few places. We did see it being grilled. We did eat an animal called picuru, which was, it's a large rodent. I saw pictures of it. You can look up picuru, P-I-C-U-R-O, picuru. It is a large rodent. It looks like a very large rat, in between like a rat and a beaver. And yeah, if no one else says it, I definitely was eating everybody's food off their plates. I definitely finished Dwayne's plate a lot, and I definitely finished Corey's plate a lot. What anybody else didn't eat, it was kind of like I was going through a survival moment. Like I didn't know how much we were going to get to eat or when we were going to get to eat next for sure. So that's one reason why I took on some weight while I was there. I definitely consumed everybody else's food off their plate. If I looked over somebody's plate and they had a half-eaten piece of chicken or a half-eaten piece of rat, whatever it was on their plate, I was like, pass it over here. Come on, I got it. I gorged myself, that's for sure. Just to make sure that I got food, you know. And I was definitely, yeah, I was a glutton for the protein. I wanted to, you know, I kind of have a little bit of anemia. I know that it can happen to me, so I just wanted to make sure that I didn't suffer from anything, didn't feel weak or shaky or anything goofy like that. I didn't want to hold anybody back, so I just ate whenever I could eat to make sure that I was well fed. And I think Corey had also asked me, why would I sign up for this? Oh, I get that was the other half, like second part of the question, but the same question. No, there wasn't anything like that. I definitely never questioned, you know, why would I sign up for this? I knew I was there, and I'll be honest, I was completely in my element. I get to do this stuff here, living in the tropics. I do kind of the same thing, not for as long a stints as possible. Or, you know, I don't stay out for like 3 or 4 hours when I go out and I film, and I just tromp through the guts and getting wet, and I get a lot more mosquito bites here, that's for sure. So I was definitely in my element. I was high off the life for sure, and I did not want to leave. I was ready to do it again right now. You know, the one thing I won't do is stay out past the sun going down. I won't stay by the edge of the river while the sun has already set, because that's when you get eaten alive by all the crazy bugs that live by the water. That's probably the one thing I learned not to do while I was there for sure. And I didn't use the Skin So Soft. I only put on bug spray one time because the Peruvian that was there with us recommended it. And pretty much anytime he said to do something, or anytime he did something, I figured he knows what's best, and I'm gonna follow his lead. And when I saw him putting bug spray on in one location in particular, so the one time that I did put bug spray on my body, and I really probably didn't even need it. I needed it for those crazy sand flea, gnat, fruit fly things or whatever that were eating us up. Waterbox, what's up? It's good to see you up in here. V-Stag, Victor, what's up? It's nice to see you in the chat, Mr. Victor. Dwayne Kitchell, what's up? I just saw you in the chat here. Yeah, Felix was the man. Felix was awesome. He kept us out of trouble so many times. He was just always watching our back, even when we were getting out of the van or something, you know, and traffic was right there. He was there, like, just guiding us and making sure that we weren't safe. He always turning around to see, you know, staying at the end of the line, picking up the slack, making sure that everybody was in the group and that nobody was missing. And no, but he is a good guy, and I definitely made a friend with him, and I look forward to seeing him again. I think some of the friendships that I made is another reason why I want to go back. Just the experience and getting to experience those things with other people, and learn from other people along the way. You know, like I was saying before, getting to learn other people's techniques, their style of fish breeding and fish keeping. You know, there's a lot of times where I just want to keep my mouth shut and listen, because there was definitely a lot of good stuff to learn. I can be a pretty big talker, but I don't think I really, you know, I'm a man of many words, but I don't think that I was too overly talkative while I was there. I definitely tried to keep the filter and listen, especially when people like Dean or Corey were talking about their personal experiences in breeding and things like that. I just kind of keep my mouth shut and listen and soak it all up and absorb all the information. Sunya, it's good to see you here. Thanks for coming in and hanging out in the chat. Ashley Claire, how are you? Glad that you could make it. But like I was saying before, you should definitely check out Go Wild Peru, gowildperu.com. Really awesome expedition company, and they have been doing a couple of things in regards to preserving some rainforest areas up north, close to Iquitos, I believe. Cusco, I'm not sure exactly the spot, but I will be putting together another video, you know, and promote that specifically. I'm pretty sure that Corey has some plans and Dean has some plans as well to promote this this cause of donating some money to purchase more lots of land in the specific area of northern Peru, where the along the water, where the rainforest is being threatened. So I definitely would do that. Would check those things out. Keep an eye open for some of that stuff coming up and some of those links coming up in the future. It was pretty heartbreaking though to see the illegal gold mining happening, and to see how China and Asia and countries over there have managed to get the locals to destroy their own land, you know, just so they can feed their families. Definitely a lot of rivers and waterways being completely polluted into the Amazon. It seems like such a pristine place, and it is a very important part of our planet, for water on our planet, and for our whole ecosystem as a whole. And it's pretty fragile, and it's just unfortunate to see the damage that's being caused to it. And I just hope that if there's anything that you could do personally, like there's lots of different foundations and lots of different programs to protect the rainforest, and I would definitely urge you to seek out some of those organizations. And if you can give money, please do, because they need our help. The Amazon needs our help. From personal experience over the last couple of weeks, I've definitely seen that there is a need for us to help fight this. I did run into a few different nonprofit organizations that were there to help socially with the people and help educate them, because there's other ways for them to make money. They don't need to be going out and I don't want to use the R word, but stripping their own land in their own country of all its natural resources, being the lumber, in the gold, and the minerals. So I'm getting close. I got about 10 more minutes to this chat, and I gotta go try to do some water changes. I gotta call the city and find out why I have no water at my house today. I got up this morning to do some dishes and start processing some water to do some water changes and catch up on the last couple of weeks. And I don't even have a dribble of water coming out of my faucet right now. So I got to go inspect this, find out what's going on, and find out when the water is coming back, because I go back to work tomorrow, and today is my day to love my fish and to take care of all my aquariums. So let's see, one more question from Senor Corey. I hope you got your tacos too. I haven't had Mexican. I plan on doing that, and the girlfriend decided to want to go instead. So we did what Dean did, is we had hamburgers, which wasn't bad. Hamburgers and some more French fries. Like I needed any more French fries in my life after this trip. But let's see, what was my first meal back? Yeah, that was it. Oh, there's your question answered. But I hope you got You did have tacos. Awesome. Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do tonight. I'm looking forward to some tacos, some nice tacos with homemade tortillas, more tortillas, and maybe some enchiladas. That will be on the menu, I believe. Going out, have one more meal out before I'm completely broke after this trip. Definitely back at square one financially, but it was so freaking worth it. So freaking worth it. And I'll be honest, I have to go back again next year. I would be interested in maybe going up north and checking out the actual Amazon, maybe having the chance to collect some discus and some angelfish, some Peruvian angelfish. That would be awesome. But at the same time, I really do like the location that we went to, you know, checking out some new spots, but I really do enjoy the high elevation mountains of Peru, the cooler temperatures, the nice clean air, so pristine once you get up there, and the people, especially once you get up into the villages and you get out of the city, really nice people, really good people, that's for sure. And like I said before, oh yeah, Dean, yeah, we gotta. I went to put one in my backpack, in one of my bags at the last minute, and I couldn't even fit it in there. I tried to cram it in there. I was so packed full of stuff. Just the extra pieces of alpaca wool and whatnot that I had purchased. I already packed the bag too tight in the first place. That's another thing that I probably learned from this experience. Might as well do a check baggage. If you're going to a foreign country and you plan on buying goodies or bringing some stuff back, you know, I should learn from Corey. Corey had a nice big solid plastic, really heavy duty bag that I guess he got when he was in Hong Kong. But definitely next time, you know, I traveled a lot and I definitely like to go lightweight and to make sure everything's with me. So I don't like to do checked baggage. But when you know you're going to bring back crazy things like bricks, Dean, Corey, bricks, really? And then the Brazil nuts. Now the Brazil nut has a husk on it, a big round shell that looks like a coconut on the outside, and then inside of that are the actual Brazil nuts, which are in their own little shell, which have to be broken up into whatnot to get to the actual Brazil nut. Now that husk, when they harvest it out in the wild, they hack open the coconut-like shell on the outside. They get to the nuts, they knock the nuts out into a bag, and they leave this big round coconut-like husk/shell right on the ground in the middle of the jungle in these areas where they harvest the Brazil nuts. And they would make an awesome little cave, little Placo cave. And so I think that in the end, you might find this on Aquarium Co-op's website or somebody else's website. But they were really nice, and I'm sure once you could get them to sink, I think that's going to be the hardest thing, is getting to boil them down long enough to get them to sink. So I look forward to seeing if Dean can manage to make these guys sink to the bottom of the tank. Let's see. Oh, nice. That's crazy, Corey, but I'm not surprised. Yeah, they love to lose bags, especially when you, it's always when you want the bag and there's stuff in it that you really want, right? But laughing about the bricks, the bricks that they use in Peru are not like your typical red brick that we use in the United States. They're a little bit larger, and they have about 8 different cavities in them. Some of them have round cylindrical holes that go through them, about 8 holes, 2 rows of 4, and then some of them have square. So, you know, it's that typical Placo cave, little Placo hotel kind of thing that you would see in some people's tanks. So I think one of those secretly or mysteriously ended up in Corey's bag, Dean. So I wanted one too, but I had no place to put it. So I think if I went back, there's definitely gonna, one of those will end up in my bag, in my check bag, coming back to the States. That's for sure. But I'm hitting my mark. It's about 3:24 here at my time here in the Caribbean, and I'm gonna go I gotta go investigate, find out what's going on with my water. I need water for these aquariums. Some of them are a little low, some of them not so much. I noticed that my rack back here behind me, just the fact that I have the lids, now it's open in the back, but I put the lids there just to hide the lighting, just to make it more aesthetically pleasing. but it actually does reduce the amount of evaporation. Just to have those tanks closed up that little bit definitely helps a lot. But all my fish seem to be happy, if anybody is wondering. They definitely, everybody was alive. I had one, Waterbox, thank you so much for the €2 there. I appreciate that so much, and all the pretty emojis. But everything was fine. I had a betta fish that was suffering from a virus, getting these little blisters. It was kind of like a betta fish herpes, almost like a herpes or HIV like virus that is in the world of betta fish. And you know, they weren't going to ever go away. All I did was keep the water clean, kind of make the fish happy, and just gave it a nice home. It was a rescue, so this is giving it a nice home until the end. And he managed to pass away like literally the day after I left. And I didn't do anything to the tank, no water changes or anything before I left to him. So it wasn't anything, I didn't stress it. I didn't do anything to the water column to cause anything. He was just really getting slower and slower every day and on his way out. So that's the only loss that I had while I was gone. Everybody else is pretty happy. If anything, it looks like I have more shrimp than I had before I left. Got the yellow King Kongs back here, the yellow Caridina shrimp, which I probably have about 400 in there. I had a bacteria bloom before I left in there. The UV light's in there now. Definitely has gotten better, but I'd like to do a nice little 20% water change on there. You know, 2 of those over the next week, and that will definitely change that. Now the TDS is really, really low. It's about 100 in there still, even after I've been gone for 2 weeks. Everybody's happy. All my shrimp are happy. All my other fish are happy. My local fish back here, they're the hardiest thing I have. The local wild guppies that I have, probably the hardest thing I have, coming from the wild and being medicated by me, quarantined out. So they're super, super hardy. I don't have to even really think about those guys. And my indolent breeding program in the other room is doing well, but no losses except for the poor betta that was on his way out anyways. People are punchy. They sink like a brick. I hope they will sink. These guys definitely need some time to boil. I noticed that we had one in the water there, and it just floated on the surface pretty much the whole time we were there. But they're really, really thick. I don't know how much air is in them. They're not dense like a coconut shell. So they got a lot more air going on inside of the husk, like shell that they are. So I think they're going to take a little work, a little boiling, a lot of boiling. But I hope Dean can prove me wrong on that. I'm looking forward to his input on that and letting me know how they work out. Let's see. Any other questions before I get out of here? I got about 2 more minutes, and I need to go find some food and investigate my lack of water. The fact the water is turned off. Craziness. One day that I need water, literally no water. I'm literally taking it. I had to take water from my reservoir, my filtered water reservoir for my tanks. I have a 45-gallon Rubbermaid garbage can that's full at this point, but I had to take a 5-gallon bucket and snag water from there so that I could flush my toilet. Felt like I was in Peru. Ay, ay, ay. Let's see. What's on the pizza tonight? No pizza tonight. I'm very, very particular about pizza, so I really don't even eat pizza very much anymore unless I go out for pizza. Unless I go to the restaurant that I used to work at is what I mean. And I don't really go there very often because I had a falling out with the owner. So, but if I do get a strong itch for real pizza, I gotta go there. Kind of a snob for pizza these days. The next video, Corey, the next video should be later this week. I don't want to spread it out too much because really in the end, it's just a little bit of content. You know, we had a really awesome experience. Probably gonna make 2 or 3, well, probably 3 or 4 videos on this, and then that's it. We're gonna have to go back and do it again. You know, you can only stretch it out for so long, right? So I'm thinking next Friday I'll put on another piece on the collecting, and maybe focus a little bit more on the actual the process, which neither of us really kind of show the whole process of quarantining and what we went through to salt bath, bathe these fish and make them healthy and medicate them and stuff like that before they can actually be shipped back to the United States. So I will be putting out a video on Friday on that. On Tuesday, I will have the second half of my fish store tour from the Exotic Aquatic in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, which is all the freshwater side, which I'm sure that's more what you guys want to see is the freshwater fish. So I'm sorry, but it was an awesome fish store, pretty big, and had a lot of saltwater stuff. So I kind of had to cut it into 2 parts. Figured I'd show the saltwater side first, just to kind of hook you guys, hopefully tease you at the same time. But the freshwater side of that fish store tour will come out on Tuesday. So I'm at my mark. It's 3:30. I really do appreciate all of you that came in and hung out. It's nice to see Corey up in here. I do appreciate that. Dean, Mean Dean, the fish breeding machine. It's nice to have you up in here as well. And Heather Nielsen, Daryl Dimmer, 54 Punchy, everyone, Devin Peppers, Honey Bee, all the awesome people that always show up in my chat. I really do appreciate it so much. Ashley, Claire, the Water Box. Who else? Sunya. It's nice to see you up in here. Tell King Lee I said hello, and I wish he was on the trip. That's for sure. Victor from B-Stag. It's nice to see you up in here as well. D from Down the Wormhole. Mad Fish Diva. Mountaintop Fish. Placo Whisperer. Prolific Breed. Fancy Tail Aquatics. Everybody and all the Patreons. I appreciate all of your support. You definitely helped to make this happen. It really truly did, because the funds that I've received from you guys over the last few months definitely put towards spending money and tipping money for all of the crew, all of the staff there at Go Wild Peru. And once again, before I get out of here, I do want to say again, check out gowildperu.com. Send a message through that website to Michael Barber, Eon Fuller, and ask them your questions. Don't be crazy about the questions. But, ask them what you're interested in, see if they can do what you want in regards to a trip. I'm pretty sure that they can help you out there. They really know what they're doing, and they do it ethically and properly. And keep in mind as well, to anybody who might be questioning what we're doing, as hobbyists, as breeders, as passionate people in the fish hobby, in the fish keeping community, we probably, out of every 100 of the species that we've seen, every 100 fish, for every 100, anybody that was with us can agree with me on this one. For every 100 Weissmanni Corridora that we saw, we probably caught 2. Seriously. So we weren't depleting the population by any means. If anything, our goal is to be very responsible, bring these things back to the States, create a population that we can share with the rest of the hobby, so that you don't have to go out into the natural environment, to their natural habitat, and take it from there. I'm sure that all of us involved, we'd all agree that that was our goal, is to help support the hobby and to bring some new different species into the hobby, to have the opportunity for these fish to be described and named and added to the list, and so they can also be protected as well. So keep in mind, we weren't just going out in the wild and just stripping it of everything that we saw. There's a lot of fish that we found, that we collected, that we took right back to the river and put right back into the river. And like I said before, for every 50 or 100 of these fish that we saw, we only managed to probably catch 2 or 3 at a time, because they're not stupid. They're out there to say, they know what's up. As soon as we get close to the water, they were taken off. So by no means were we just taking a bunch of fish from the wild and destroying the population at all. For all of us involved, our goal, including the owners of the expedition, in some places we were only allowed to take 2 or 3 or 4 of a certain species, because we don't want to deplete the population. If we knew that it was a low population of that species there, we only took about 4 or so anyways. So we did it very ethically, and we did it properly and responsibly, for nature and for science and for the hobby. So just please keep that in mind as well. That's my last note to you guys. There's a right way and a wrong way to do things, and by no means do we do it the wrong way. we meant no harm by what we were doing, and our goal is really just to create a population in captivity so that you guys can have these fish as well. And so definitely keep up with Dean or keep up with Corey. You know, if you're within the area of Aquarium Co-op, definitely go and check out his store soon enough. He should have some things available. If Dean can get these things pumped out and bred, you might find them in Corey's store. But yeah, keep an eye out for the gold ancestris, the green ancestris, and some other stuff like that. I think there might be some kind of an auction going on to support funding the rainforest preservation program that has been created by Michael Barber. And you can also email Michael Barber at goelperu.com. You can email him about the nonprofit organization that's been created to preserve some of the rainforest land in northern Peru. So without further ado, I have to get out of here, go do some water changes. Once again, thank you guys so much for watching. I do appreciate it so much. Thank you to all of you that like, comment, share my content here on the platform and in other platforms. It means so much to me. I really do appreciate it. I am celebrating 4,000 subs this week. Thank you to all of you that helped make that happen. Thank you to all of my new subscribers. Thank you once again to all of my Patreons out there. It means so much to me, all of your support. And remember, guys, keep your tanks clean, your fish fed, and have fun.